broadcasting from Millvale Studios. You are listening to Funny Money on the River's Edge Network. I'm your host, Tom Henry, and with me, as always, is
Matt Wolfarth.
And our producer, Brian Crawford.
Brian Crawford running on 2 hours of sleep. We're calling him Aquaman today.
Yeah, I spilled like a bottle of water, twice now?
Yes. You're two for two.
I don't know. I would say sleep deprivation man might be a better description.
Oh, my God. That's the worst. When you're really tired, you can't even do anything right.
Yeah, there are definitely different degrees.
You're just like, I can't move my arm.
I mean, there's passing out, standing up level of tired.
And the older you get, like, you'll find you cannot mess with your sleep patterns. Like, your circadian rhythms are your circadian rhythms. Don't mess with them or you'll be ruined for, like, not a day, not 5 hours, like 3 days. Like, you'll feel it till Thursday.
So there's several times I stay up for, like, 48 hours in a day. Are you trying to say that
that's going to stop?
You have no circadian rhythm.
No circadian rhythm.
No.
Isn't that a cool term, huh?
That is a cool term,
I never
yes.
even heard of it before.
Look it up to make sure I'm quoting it right.
Well, so we brought you in that way because, you can always treat your sleep deprivation with drugs that you buy at the supermarket.
You can.
You can. And we're talking about supermarkets, so it's perfect.
Dude, supermarkets are crazy good right now. Like, I used to hate them, but now it's kind of fun.
Wait, you mean the level of convenience?
Yeah,
or?
the level of stuff. Just like you go in and you can pick and choose. Like, you have your own little guy department where you can go in and get your beer and your little dinner. And then I swore I was never going to party at Giant Eagle, but the other night I was partying at Giant Eagle.
Good for you.
Because they have a little pub over there.
They do, yeah. You mean at the Waterworks?
Yeah, at the Waterworks.
Yeah,
I said I will never party at Giant Eagle. And the other day I'm like, there's some people here. It's not bad. So
you know what? The food is good there, too, at that place.
We were just talking yesterday on River Talk, and they actually now, you can buy your alcohol there in a couple months.
Yes.
Well, wine and everything else.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
like hard drinks?
State stores are in trouble, and then everybody's going to be selling their beer distributors, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so
we saw that coming.
If you haven't gathered, our local biggest grocery store chain is Giant Eagle, which is privately owned. And I guess another one. What do we have around here? Like, we have those dollar
Shop
store
and
things.
Save.
Shop and Save.
We have Sure Fine or Sure Shop
but none of the ones we're going to be talking about. And the reason
we're not talking about my other favorite one, Wegman. Thank you. The
reason we're talking about the ones we are talking about is because they're public and they're large,
and you can own a piece of them.
Yes, exactly. The one that you might think is the elephant in the room that we're not talking about is Trader Joe's. And that's because, as Brian, our producer, just clarified for me, the owner of Aldi also has a family trust that owns Trader Joe's. And so it's privately held.
I didn't know that until you just told me. I had no idea. They didn't even seem similar.
Well, I didn't know that until Brian told me. I thought it was just Aldi's own Trader Joe's.
Now that you say it, like, as I've been in both stores, they're similarly set up. Like, it's like a maze. They get you in there and you're just trying to get out the whole time.
Where, Aldi?
Yeah, both of them.
They try and capture you. Now, wouldn't that be annoying? I mean, if you're like, what do you mean? Like a maze, you're stuck in there because you're literally lost?
Yeah, like, once you're in, you can't. You have to go through the whole store to get out almost. Like,
right. It seems like
corralling you, almost like IKEA. You know how you go into IKEA and people have been lost there for days?
Yeah.
Like, I was survived by sucking on loofah sponges. Like, what the hell? There's like road signs, traffic stops, school bus stops.
Right. Like, they want you to get lost.
Yes.
The loster you are, the more time you spend browsing.
You spend more money. But both of those stores are set up similarly. But Aldi's doesn't sell bags. I didn't know that till the end of the store when I went to get out of there.
They don't sell bags?
No, they don't give you bags.
Oh, no, you have to buy them, yeah.
Yeah, I got all the way to the end. He goes, we don't have bags. That's how we save you money. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with Aldi's?
You know what? They're like really a genius company. I mean, with what they do to save money. No, but you know what? It's true. It works. They save money that way. They don't allow you to use credit card purchases still.
Oh, wow.
It's
all cash.
Cash or debit. They finally started using debit. They don't pay for a cart person. That's why they have the quarter in the buggy. Even the person sitting down, they've actually done studies that they're actually able to ring faster by sitting down, so then they can have less cashiers. So there's just tons of different.
Well, I'm not. I think it's a great. I mean, they seem to be a very efficient competitor for Giant Eagle in this area, and I do like them, and they do have good values on certain
They're
things.
definitely sprouting up around here. I mean, you see more and more of them.
Oh, they're going.
They're in the top 5 or 10 largest companies in the world.
Oh,
Wow.
So,
Wow.
So they have the money behind them.
yeah.
Like Coons is the other one. Remember, Coons is the other market
Oh,
in Pittsburgh.
how do you spell Coons?
Kuhn. Did I say
Okay.
it incorrectly?
No, I think that's
That's
how
right,
you would
yeah.
pronounce that.
Coons.
I feel like I'm the expert
But
on
I
this
don't know
show
where-
today.
Coons.
I don't know that one.
There's one on McKnight. There's one on.
Yeah, it's like a
over-
local, isn't it?
Oh, yeah?
It's not bad. They have good. They have good canned goods prices. 10 for $10. That's
All right. Well, let's
Go ahead,
talk
I'm
about
sorry.
the big players. We're going to start off with the biggest one in the business,
which is
Kroger.
Kroger.
Okay.
Remember AMP?
Kroger's got a $37 billion market cap, so it is by far and away the biggest company we're going to be talking about tonight.
Holy smokes! I knew they were big, and they've been around forever.
They've been around since 1883, which I'm just going to explain.
Go.
All right.
Do we have
In
a good story?
1883, we do.
Tell me a
All
story.
right. Bernard, otherwise known as Barney Kroger, invested his life savings of $372 to open a grocery store in downtown Cincinnati.
Are you
Now-
kidding me? $372.
Yes, but in today's money, that would be equivalent to $9,400.
So that's still not bad, though. I mean, if I,
I mean,
can
to open
scrounge-
up a grocery store in a city, yeah, that seems like
there's a little market for sale over in Fox Chapel. I might buy.
he might have gotten a loan along with his 372, but it doesn't say that.
Oh my God!
I'm just
That's
this is
so
from
amazing
Wikipedia,
to
by the
me.
way. All right, so this
37 is the key number there because 37 billion and $372, right?
what are you into numerology?
Apparently no. Trying anything, Tom. It's getting
Yeah.
late in the game.
All right, so yes, it's all about 37s. Uh, so okay, all right. So he opened the store in 1883, and this was the beginning of what was to become the first major supermarket chain in the United States. Kroger's parents, Barney Kroger, his parents ran a dry goods store, and they lived above the store, and they had 10 kids, and he was like number 5, and so he was familiar sort of with retailing his whole life, but with 10 kids, even manning the whole store, they didn't have enough jobs to give all 10 of them, so they sent Barney out, and he had to get his own job, and he went to work for another local grocery store, and then after a little bit of doing that, he had to quit and take a job as a farmhand because his mom was so upset that the grocery store would make him work on Sundays.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because they were like,
because they're
very Christian. Yeah.
Christian, yes.
So when Kroger opened up the store, he opened it with a simple rule in mind, and that was never sell anything that you would not want yourself.
Wow.
That was his thesis, okay? And it obviously worked, at least at that time, because now Kroger is currently the largest American supermarket chain by revenue. Kroger.
That's a different story entirely. They sell everything you don't want.
Kroger.
That's old and damaged.
Oh, yeah, you'll chew on it and die. It'd be Kroger. Kroger is the 5th largest retailer in the world, period,
Really?
with
A
2,700
retailer out
Yes.
of all retail. That's
Yes.
crazy.
with 2,778 supermarkets, mostly in the Midwest and South. And now Kroger used to be here in Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they left the market.
They did in 1984, and that was because the workers here went on strike, and they
Oh.
just closed up shop during the strike because it was too much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I
Too
didn't
much
know.
of
When was
a
that
revenue
strike?
hit.
Do you remember it?
1984. It was
Wow.
83 to 84, actually.
Wow.
It must have been during the
I
winter.
I should have remembered that.
Well, there was a lot of other things going on in the city at the time. We were reeling from the
Steel industry.
Steel industry.
It was
closing.
just probably another loss
Right.
of jobs.
So, okay, looking at Kroger stock, it doesn't look that expensive. The PE is 17.28.
Go ahead.
It's got a dividend of 1.17%, and it has a return on invested capital of 12.75%.
We're close.
So it's not that big a spread. It's not nothing, but it's not that big a spread. But here's the problem, okay? Debt to equity is 160%. All right? Now, a business like Kroger's, normally I would tolerate around a 60% debt to equity level in it, like a standard company. But a company like Kroger's with that many stores and that predictable in inventory tends to have predictable revenues too.
So they can handle that.
And so having a regular payment for interest is very manageable for a company like that, which even in a recession would tend to have still pretty solid earnings.
People have to eat, right?
People have to eat, exactly.
Yep.
Right now, your margins might go down in a recession though, because people are buying cheaper things.
You're right.
You know?
They're buying bread.
But you still, you're not gonna. It's not gonna go kaput. You know, you don't have that huge risk that other companies have.
It would seem to be a safe harbor. That's what I would call it.
It has a part of that to it, part of that quality to it. I don't think it's a totally safe harbor though. Okay, so debt to equity is 160%, and the earnings per share are expected to increase 8.3%, which is quite good for a company of this size.
That's really good.
So, you know, if it weren't for that high debt level, I would say this is, you know, a pretty good buy. And even though they can't afford to have a higher debt level than most, that's still too much.
What was the PE again?
Okay, the PE was 17.28.
Okay, so there's like a 5-point spread there.
Right.
Okay.
So I'd say it's a little too expensive given how much debt they have.
When would you
Otherwise,
look at
it's
this
not
stock?
too expensive.
When would you look at this? Like in what market conditions would you look at
Okay,
a stock like this?
Like with that same debt percentage, I would look at the stock if the PE were down, you know, around 12 or so.
So if it was even, you might look at it.
Yeah, because there are enough other good things about this.
Are they growing or?
Earnings per share is expected to grow 8.3%.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, are they?
Are they expanding? Yes, they are expanding. You know, as I say though, they're pretty good at analyzing areas to be in. Obviously, they did not find our area to be welcoming, so they left. And I think that's, you know, pretty good decision making. I think they're pretty good at figuring out what areas are profitable and knowing how to milk them, and what areas don't have too many competitors.
Correct.
Giant Eagle has a pretty good grip on our area now.
Yeah, they have a stranglehold. They're like Ted Nugent. Aren't they like a $1.9 billion company?
I don't know. But okay, so this stock is trading at $35.67, and that is up from $20 in 2014.
Wow!
So it's been pretty strong. And as I said, it's very large, $37 billion market cap. So I don't hate this stock, but I wouldn't buy it now. I'd wait for a lower price or for them to pay off more of their debt.
Good answer.
So now I think, even though, you know, that was our first one, I think let's take a little break for promotions right now.
Okay. Sounds like a deal. Be back soon.
Hey, this is Matt Geica, the host of your alternative sports talk program on the River's Edge. It's called Geick's Got Game, and it's every Friday at 7 a.m. I'll give you a peek behind the sports media curtain, zoom out for the big picture, and always obsess over the details of the games, teams, and players we love or love to hate. That's Geick's Got Game, every Friday at 7 on the River's Edge.
Okay, welcome back.
Hey, I have to tell you, that's the first time I actually heard the promo.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I like
it. I thought it was well done.
I'm excited for Geick's.
We're moving on up. We have a little
Geick's Got Game
webcam.
Yeah,
That's right. We're streaming live, actually.
We are
Technically on the YouTube. I'm just testing
on
it
the
out.
YouTube.
So.
That's awesome.
He's always experimenting over here.
Right. So stay
Go
close
to
to the table so you're in the camera.
Like, that's a little camera for a big head. Like I definitely don't have Zika virus. Look at my friggin' cranium.
What? Oh, right. That it shrinks your head. Right, but only if you were born from a mother who has the Zika.
I'm gonna
virus,
write
right?
a movie about a person that gets bit by the opposite of Zika, and their head gets huge, and they become really smart.
Yeah, the
That would be a good
Achilles
movie.
virus.
What would you call it?
The Achilles virus.
Oh,
right?
I like it. We'll do it. That's a good movie, right? They could be really smart.
Right. Right. Well, is that I hesitate to laugh at that now because
Is that possible?
does that mean that with the little head they're really dumb?
Well, I mean, a smaller cranium. I think they're.
You're
IQ
just
tougher.
using your intuition there to make.
No, I'm not trying to make an
logical.
assertion. If someone's affected by it, I apologize. But I'm just trying to think
Couldn't,
of a $1 million movie idea, like someone that gets ridiculed their whole life and they end up saving the planet
wondered-
because they have a virus that made their brain bigger than everybody
Is the
else.
actual size of your brain a major factor in your intelligence?
Oh, most definitely. Don't
Yeah.
you think?
I don't know. I don't know.
It
the
seemed
answer
to
that.
be anthropologically, right?
I know a dude with a huge head, and he's also really smart.
All I know
Really?
is like yeah, and all,
That's
all of the
only
all
one.
of the TV shows, like the Brainiacs always have like the big heads, the brains are bulging out.
In
so-
cartoons,
Norwegian
yeah, in
people.
cartoons, and I mean they're
Not
never
in-
inaccurate.
not in not in TV shows with actual humans in it though.
Well, I know there's a tie to
suppose.
IQ and Azerbaijan Jewish people. Is that right? Did I get that right?
No, you didn't. No,
Or
Ashkenazi Jewish people.
Ashkenazi. I'm sorry.
Right, they did show that. Right, they tended
What
to
did
have
I
a
say?
higher. You said Azerbaijan.
That's a
That's
country.
a country, yeah.
So they do have a higher IQ, right?
Well, yeah.
they have
I mean,
big
on
heads?
average, they have a higher IQ. I don't know that they have big heads. I've never seen any study on that.
Do you know any? Ask some people.
Yes. It's like the most common kind of Jew in the United States, right? I mean, isn't that?
I don't know.
Right.
I'm Catholic.
Same here, but
You're smarter than me. You're a smarter
come on.
Catholic.
all right. Let's talk about this Sprouts Farmers Market.
I have to tell you, I like
Sounds
the
so
name.
wholesome,
I thought
doesn't it?
I love
Okay.
the name.
Well, in 1943, Frank Sprouts was no. I'm just kidding. His name isn't Sprouts.
No, what is it?
It's Henry Boney. Okay.
No way.
Henry Boney.
You're making up names.
No,
like-
I'm not.
All right, so here's a link to success, people. If you have a messed up name, if you've been ridiculed your whole life because you have a big cranium or you have a weird name, chances are you're
You've got
going to
a
be
good
successful
shot at it.
because you have
Yeah.
something to prove
They
to the
do
world.
seem to have weird names.
Yes.
All right. So in 1943, Henry Boney opened a fruit stand in San
A
Diego.
fruit stand.
All right. Now, I know it sounds ridiculous. Now, it's very simple, though. He had this idea. He was like, hey, I'm going to sell fruit for cheap, for real cheap. And so he, like, went and got, like, fruit, like, directly from, like,
tree.
illegal immigrants and sold it in San Diego,
I believe
and
that. It makes sense. I want to do that. Get a fruit truck.
right.
I'm sorry. I'm done laughing, Henry. But
Henry Boney and his
This-
fruit
Yeah, this
stand. All right, so it caught on selling fruit cheap. It's not surprising. I guess like before 1943, they were all like selling the pricey fruit. Maybe they didn't even have fruit stands.
this fruit is washed.
No, they must have had fruit stands.
This is $35.
So
This is a banana without freckles. $42.
after expanding to more fruit stands, he went on to create in California Speedy Mart and Boney's. Okay.
I think I've shopped at Boney's.
Boney's is a grocery store, and Speedy Mart's like a little grocery
Yeah.
store, convenience grocery store.
You're inspiring me today. I'm
So-
gonna go buy a mini market.
In 1969, two of Henry's sons, Stan and Steve, created a second-generation Boney's store in Ramona, California.
I love Ramona, east of San Diego.
And then they opened up more stores in California and renamed the chain Henry's Marketplace in honor of their dad.
All right, their naming is not good, but go
All
ahead.
right. Hey, I like that one, Henry's
Good.
Marketplace. All right, so that was 1997. In 1999, they sold the chain to the aggressive acquirer Wild Oats,
Wild oats.
who's been prowling around the West, just
Like a tumbleweed,
taking down
tumbleweed
companies.
of purchasing power.
Yeah. So yeah, it's sowing its wild oats all over the place. So in 2002, Stan Boney, along with his son and some family friends, this is after they had sold out to Wild Oats.
Okay.
All right. They started, and I'm sure they had some kind of non-compete, because they didn't open this in California. They went to Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
All right.
So geographical.
Right. They probably did have some non-compete there that prevented them from opening in California. So they founded Sprouts Farmers Market in 2002. And, it started in Phoenix. It was a success. The guy obviously knew how to run stores, supermarkets well. And they very much, marketed on this idea of freshness and wholesomeness, kind of like Whole
Yeah,
Foods
that's what
does.
California rings on. It's fresh from the farm or whatever. Californians love that.
Right, right. I mean, it's good marketing.
Like
I'm not sure if the
Pittsburgh people
food is
don't,
actually
like-
any better for you or anything, but it's good marketing.
Yes.
Some of the food's probably somewhat better, depending on what it is. Okay, this was a success. It expanded to new locations. And to date, Sprouts has 220 supermarkets. And I'm going to name the states that they're in because none of them are ours. It's Arizona, California, Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, Missouri, Alabama, and Tennessee.
Okay.
In other words,
Good.
it's like everywhere except for the north and the east.
Yes.
So
Kind of like that Walmart start.
is that right? They started where?
Walmart
Didn't
started
they?
in
Texas?
cities less than
Or
10,000
Oklahoma.
people, right?
They
Arkansas.
start- Arkansas. Okay.
Yes. But then they start in cities of under 10,000 people. And then they
Yes,
choked
I think
everybody
that's
off.
right.
So they like
Well, they made this hub
They
and spoke
flanked
supply
everybody.
system.
yeah,
They made a really good, effective supply system where they could undercut in pricing,
Okay.
people who had less effective supply systems.
you're right because it comes down to mileage, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. They put a hub and spoke distribution center, so they would have a distribution center in the center geographically of a
of an area.
an area that might be like have a 40-mile radius or so.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you too about distribution because they have all these things to say. Well, we have a city or we have an enterprise zone, right? You know the difference, right? Like so, Pittsburgh and Cleveland are an enterprise zone,
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah. So like it's eventually they just if you look up enterprise zones, there's maybe 8 of them in the country. So you just can put a distribution center in the middle of all of those and service all those areas equally. Like Youngstown would be natural for Pittsburgh.
I can see that. Yeah. So at any rate, this company did very well with this, and they were in pretty early on in this kind of wholesome food supermarketing.
And what year was this, by the way?
Well, I mean, when he started selling the fruit, it was 1943. But when they founded this company, Sprouts Farmers Market, it was 2002.
2002.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was still before everybody. Was
Yeah,
on.
yeah. But what I was really referring to is the family's start in
Yes.
1943.
Okay.
So this company has a PE of 25.5,
25.5.
no dividend,
No
Uh,
dividend.
an ROIC of 12, which is substantially lower than the PE, and I don't like to see that. Net debt to equity of 16.5%.
That's
Excellent.
not bad. That's really good.
Very good, almost none. And here's a really good thing. Expected earnings per share up 17% this year.
Oh my goodness.
So you're getting definite earnings growth, very low debt company, and you're paying a very high price for it.
No, I have a question. What do you pay as a premium? Like this is all right. Kroger's everywhere already. Not everywhere, but they're everywhere they plan on. Now this company's a growth company, right? So
Yeah.
they're growing more rapidly. Like what kind of premium do you put on that as far as, like the potential of it being a growth stock?
I put a very a high premium on that. I mean, I would say you mean like maybe every 3 or 3.5% of expected earnings growth. I would like knock off a point of PE
Okay.
to the price, something like that would be about right.
So where would you put that right now? So
All right,
that's
so-
5. So that's 5 points off. So that brings
Yeah,
down
so
to
it would
20.
still be too expensive, right? You
Okay.
could bring it down to 20 or 19.
Okay. Well, that's that's the first time you had that rule of thumb, the 3.
Yeah, that was a good question. And it's the first time I've actually articulated that rule of thumb. It's always something I sort of do in my head, just without thinking about it.
Yeah, because you kind of, I mean, the thing we struggle with is we still want to catch a stock before it becomes too expensive and too big, right?
Yeah.
Like we want to catch Google before it becomes Google. Like, do you know what I mean? But
Well, absolutely, but
so if we can catch a concept beforehand, but you want to make sure it's a viable concept.
right. That's
it's
a
being
double-edged
managed.
sword.
Yeah, because if it grows too fast, it could hurt itself too, right? Because that's a hard avenue.
Well, there are a lot of crazy things that you get burn on if you invest too early. If you Benjamin Graham, one of the most famous investors of all time, said that if you're thinking about investing in a new company, a startup, he said, I have better advice for you. He said, take up all of your money, and go on top of a tall building and throw half of it over the side. And he says, there, now you're better off than if you had done what you were originally going to do.
Hey, that's another nice story.
And it's very hard to pick.
Because people don't know what they're doing at the beginning, right? I mean, a lot of
Right.
times they're growing and they're just inundated with
There's
stresses.
so
and-
many ideas, and so
Yeah.
many of them flop.
Yep.
Look, so the price of this stock, Sprouts Farmers Market, has come down quite a bit. It's at $22.77. That's down from $46 back in 2014.
Huh.
And it's got a $3.41 billion market cap. So, it's a much smaller business
All right.
than
Was that
Kroger.
was that P based on that price or that price?
The PE is based on the current price, which is $22.77.
Darn it, Jim.
So, back when it was 46, maybe they were earning more.
Yep.
Or either they were earning more or the price was way out of control.
It's really hard. And do you find right now that a lot of the stocks are overpriced?
Yes. I find
Okay.
like
Because
the
my
market
buddy
in
told me that-
general is overpriced.
Overpriced. So we're due for a correction at some point.
It's hard to say when it's, well, we're due, but we've been due, kind of. I mean, it's hard to say, at what point are stocks too pricey that they need to correct,
Correct.
because sometimes they can get very overpriced.
I blew it. I mean, there was a time, probably 18 to 24 months ago, that we could have just jumped in on pretty much anything and you would be up now.
18 to 20 months ago, I'm not sure.
When would you say?
I mean, if you had bought after 2009, March of 2009,
Yes.
you'd be really sitting pretty right now.
I blew it.
But yeah, that's not, we haven't, 2015 wasn't a good year for the market. So it doesn't really apply to that year.
Okay.
Um,
I'm old, so I just thought maybe it was 2 years ago, but it was probably like 7 years ago.
Time flies, man.
Time flies when you're broke.
We're both old. All right, so before we talk about the last one, I was thinking we'll just do one more. We'll do a little promo break for the River's Edge, and then we'll come back.
Let's go.
Hi, I'm Mike Storer, host of the Awesome Cast, which you can hear right here on River's Edge Radio. We're talking tech, getting geeky every week with people from Pittsburgh in the industry. Go check us out, awesomecast.net, or listen to us right here on River's Edge Radio, Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. after Funny Money.
Okay, welcome back. Just want to make sure I was being recorded
Dude,
here.
I have to tell you, I feel like we're real. Like we've come so far. We have to commend you, Brian. Like we've come so far from our hard start.
Brian's done a
hot
great
start
job.
beginnings. Well,
And
thank you.
now we have this excellent streaming system, so we can go online. It's in HD.
Streaming
Yes.
reminds me
Yeah.
that I have to pee. Because I'm over 50. I'm streaming. Like,
All right,
given
so-
a large prostate, no, you're streaming.
Hey, I got to tell you something about this. I probably should have
Prefaced.
teased this earlier, but Whole Foods. There is news out about Whole Foods, and it had. I was already gonna do. I had already picked this topic last week, but then just today this article was out, and I thought it was very significant for Whole Foods. I'm gonna actually read you the article.
I love it.
This is from
Breaking news
Market Watch,
from Metropolis.
entitled "FDA Warns Whole Foods Over Serious Violations in Prepared Foods." Okay, by Jesse Newman and Heather Haddon.
Well, you know how much work it takes FDA to get involved.
Yeah. Well, all right. Okay. Whole Foods Market has until the end of June to remedy, quote, serious violations discovered by federal regulators during a February inspection of a Massachusetts plant that supplies ready-to-eat products across the Northeast. In a warning letter to the company's chief executives dated June 8th, the U.S. FDA said that Whole Foods had failed to manufacture, package, and store food in ways that reduced the potential for contamination and microorganism growth. On a long list of problems, FDA inspectors said they found foods like pesto pasta and mushroom quesadillas being prepared or stored in places where condensation was dripping from ceilings, a doorway, and a fan. It said the company kept dirty dishes near food, didn't supply hot water at hand washing sinks, and allowed high-pressure hoses used for cleaning to spray into areas where foods like couscous and salad, like cuckoo, couscous and salad dressing were being prepared. And that sounds so gross. I mean, is that like they're spraying the sidewalk and like that water is like going into the couscous?
I have to laugh a little bit
right.
as I watch the people at Whole Foods scurry around with their little carts.
But it's a little ambiguous the way it's worded,
Yeah,
so I'm
you
not
know.
sure. Okay, a Whole Foods spokeswoman said the company has corrected each of the issues identified in an earlier warning letter from February, and that they were surprised that these thorough and tangible steps weren't reflected in the June letter. So this is I think, a very toxic story for Whole Foods. And I'll tell you, the reason is, it would be a less toxic story for a Kroger, because Whole Foods, their whole reputation is high quality
Yes.
and expensive.
Yes. Your whole paycheck. That's what they call it.
So you're not, if you begin to doubt the quality, then you're not going to shell out for those high margin goods at Whole Foods. You'd rather go to Trader Joe's or Kroger or whatever.
Now, does Trader Joe's compete with them? Like, is that kind of
Trader Joe's, but they're not. Trader Joe's is much cheaper,
Yes.
for one thing.
But it's like
and it's
inexpensive
also a
organic.
little more eclectic as to what their inventory is.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that could be toxic too.
yeah, I think that this is a very bad story, and Whole Foods needs to make it go away as quickly as they can, and hope that it doesn't damage their brand, because I think it has the potential
But
to.
weren't they spraying bottled water through their hoses?
Probably.
Well,
and what's this dirty dishes? Like what?
they're
Like the
just-
people are like.
They
and
don't
the-
have. They're not.
The
washed
workers in
their
the plant are like eating and like
Yeah,
making
just-
food with one hand, and
no washing.
yeah, they didn't wash their hands with hot water.
They're probably
Just like-
laughing about this. Is going to Whole Foods. This is organic. It's organic. It's
Yeah, it's organic, just like the snail that
Well, weren't they
fell into
having-
it.
They were having other trouble with same store sales or something, right? As far as numbers are concerned, Whole Foods. I mean,
It's been a little tepid, but yeah, this right. Well, let's get into their other operations. I just wanted to make everyone aware of this very current issue that I think is a very real threat for Whole Foods. Now, let's
good
go.
thing most of America doesn't read.
Well, good thing for Whole Foods, but actually, I would tend to
I think their audience would be
yeah,
well-read,
their audience
well-versed on that.
right reads the paper a lot. So let's dial it back in time and go to 1978, where John Mackey and Renee Lawson borrowed $45,000 from family and friends to open a small natural food store called Safer Way in Austin, Texas.
Oh wow, Safer Way.
Yeah, now that's a clear play on
Safeway.
Safeway, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the supermarket chain. That used to be a public supermarket chain, but I
they
think
took it
someone
private?
acquired it, or so. I can't remember what happened, but Safer Way.
Really big in California.
You wonder that like Safeway didn't sue them, but they probably didn't even know about it.
We should have thought about the R. Cover your bases.
So they opened this store. All right, these two guys, and when the duo was evicted from their, and then I wasn't sure.
They were evicted?
Yeah, from
These
their.
stories are
They were
the best.
evicted from their apartment. Okay.
Oh, they're evicted because they're running a grocery store out of their
For
apartment?
storing food products in their apartment.
They didn't
They
get
had
written
the
up by the
inventory
FDA.
like in their.
They didn't get written up by the FDA.
No, nobody. I mean, this was like 1978. We're shooting from the hip.
Our bodies.
And
are
so, okay, all right, it gets even grosser. All right, so, all right, when they were, also, I want to ask this. When the duo was evicted, do you say from its apartment when he's talking about the duo? Or do you say from their apartment?
I would say from their apartment.
That makes more sense. But
Well,
when you're
unless
talking
you're
about
talking
the
about the-
duo is the subject of the
business, right?
sentence.
Yes, you're right.
Is the subject of the sentence. So
I think it's its. I think would stand corrected.
and
on that.
I kind of like that. The duo was evicted from its apartment.
Batman and Robin with their E. coli stained clothes.
So, all right. So since they were evicted, they decided to live at the store. All right.
That's even grosser. Go ahead.
Because it was zoned for commercial use, there was no shower. So they bathed using a water hose attached to the dishwasher.
Wow. So this is taking the pressure off Whole Foods right away. This is a great
Except that
follow-up
it is these guys still are the runs Whole Foods. These two
Oh.
guys I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
So this slip and slop, these slobs, who and we should be surprised that they're letting water splash from the sidewalk up onto the food.
Oh my God. I will never, ever, ever take their little card again.
No, I'm being way too harsh. All right.
Hey,
but
habits.
it does say something. All right. Anyway, it's a funny story. All right. So in 1980, they partnered up with the owners of another grocery store called Clarksville Natural Grocery, and then they opened the original Whole Foods Market, which was a combination of those two businesses.
Now, on two things, look, we've jested with them, but I totally respect the fact that they did what it took to launch their company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I respect that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, right. You got to struggle,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah, they went through some tough times.
Very tough
yeah.
times.
You know?
Apparently still.
Yeah, right. They're living in the, hey, I'm ready to go.
We have
They
the
need to watch
produce
my
department, we
segment.
have the meat
It's like-
department, we have the indigent department.
Dude, you're here all the time.
They got to do that. They got to watch that public service announcement I did that teaches you that it's okay to shower before work. So,
Yeah, that's a good thing.
yeah.
Okay, so all right, they opened their first Whole Foods this is in Austin, Texas.
I didn't know they started there.
They concentrated on marketing toward women. Okay, and
That's a smart move.
right, they worked on that really hard, and it was effective. Okay, and they were able to open up more stores, and then they expanded out of Austin in 1984 to Houston and Dallas, and then they went to New Orleans in 1988. And then they expanded into California, I think like 89 or so, and then they began a long series of acquisitions, and this created a big expansion for them. They gobbled up Mrs. Gooch's Natural Food of California.
Mrs. Who?
Mrs. Gooch's Natural Food of California, which was that was a pretty big store. All right.
All right.
They also gobbled up Bread and Circus of Massachusetts.
All right. If you don't
Yeah,
have a weird name, you cannot get into the food business. Either that, if you don't like it, you have to go invent
right.
an element.
But notably, they bought Wild Oats. Okay, so
Full circle, crazy love
they
triangle.
themselves, Wild Oats, we discussed, was an aggressive acquirer,
Yeah.
and then they got Wild Oats in 2007, which actually brought up antitrust intervention from the government. But I think they made some concessions, and then they were able to get the deal through.
Why would there be antitrust just in the organic grocery market? Is that? I mean,
It's
they're not as big
right.
as Kroger.
See, now it depends on. That's an excellent question because it depends on what they define as the market. Now, when the regulators are they have a calculation for it, and you try and find out what percentage, of revenue the combined company would be of the whole overall market, and then how much diversity there is in the whole overall market. And so it depends on whether they define the market as grocery stores or like natural grocery stores.
Okay.
All right. So in this case, it was two natural grocery stores coming together. So I think they argued that was the market. But I don't know. I would argue the other way because I think that they're very much competing with Giant Eagle, and you'll see.
Well, Giant Eagle's coming back.
Giant
with that
Eagle
organic
will
section.
revamps its stores and calls some of them Market District,
Yeah.
to compete with Whole Foods, really. But we all know Whole Foods has been a dramatic influence in grocery shopping for years, and changed a lot of things. So they are an innovator. They are someone who figured out a way to make something very pleasant that people hadn't really experienced before.
Yeah, they wanted.
Except, not pleasant on the wallet, in my opinion.
There was an article on loyalty programs in the New York Times this week, and it talked about like what makes a loyalty program effective. And that sounds like it's a divergent path I'm taking. However, it means that they want to have exclusive rights to things, and I think that's the appeal of Whole Foods. It's like we shop at Whole Foods, like we're a little.
You think it's like bragging rights?
Yeah, it's just like we're
the
doing
food
well.
is actually. I mean,
and the food is good.
I feel like if I'm gonna get,
I'm not getting the
fish
couscous anytime soon
or something. That if I go to Whole Foods and I pick something up, it's gonna be fresh.
You're right. I had the smothered gar, and it still had the pillow over its face.
Very good.
I thought that
Gar is such an odd fish.
Come on,
to
that
choose.
was a good joke. You guys
gar.
didn't give me anything on that one.
I just had Gar last night.
Did you? No, you didn't.
No, I did not. All right.
The smothered gar. Still had the pillow over its face. Come on, that was classic.
That was good. That's good.
So more recently, Whole Foods has expanded into Canada and the UK. And today, they have 431 supermarkets. All right?
Only 431. I would have guessed higher.
Well, that's about double the.
They're building one by
Sprouts
South Hills
Farmers.
Village, and they're going to have showers for the employees. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just guessing.
I thought. Yeah, I don't know.
They should make it like a homeless. Like they should have like an outdoor shower, like they do at the beach house.
Well, you know what's funny? Okay, you say that they didn't shower, but at Aldi's they were so particular. They wanted you clean shaven, and one day I came in with just like a little bit of fuzz, and they're telling me, "Oh no, you can't have that." They say some of our managers bring a razor to work and they shave on their lunch breaks to make sure they're clean cut.
Really?
And I'm like, I'm not shaving on my
That's
lunch
insane.
Oh wow.
break. I'm never shaving on my lunch
No,
break.
it's insane.
So they don't want you to body hair. What about a face tattoo? Are you allowed to have
No, they would.
What if
Definitely
you had
not
Aldi's
allow
like right
that.
across your forehead?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Free
Yeah.
advertising.
You're not allowed.
You know what? They're all about cheap advertising. So
Aldi's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, that all these would be. But that gives you a little more confidence in maybe the sanitary environment. That
Well, I
Aldi's-
will say that they do, having worked there previously, they clean everything every day, and there's like a checklist they have to go through, and
I kind of
they
like
they
that.
literally even like the stock room, they like wax and mop the stock room every day and
Nice.
and everything. So
I like that. That's how a store should be. Put some elbow grease into it, right? Make it work right.
Yes.
So
I'm telling you, clean bathroom is my first inclination anywhere. Like if you go any
Oh, yeah.
restaurant, I go in the bathroom first, and there's places
really,
you go into.
They're like, oh, there he is again.
Well, no, you just
The bathroom critic.
the bathroom blowout. No, but if you have a clean bathroom, chances are your food's going to be clean, right?
Sure,
I mean, even
yeah.
like Wendy's historically, I don't know, they've been really slacking.
Yeah, I
about
would say
bathroom.
that's probably true.
Just
As many gas stations have too.
oh yeah, don't even go there. And if you're ever on the road and you have to go to the bathroom, go to a hotel. They always have a bathroom in the lobby that has to be clean.
Well, I always judge places too by the type of hand dryers that they have in the restroom. Like a company really cares about their employees or customers if they have an accelerator, but if they have a whirl dryer,
Yeah.
maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But they said that accelerator's a misnomer. It just blows germs all over the room.
I don't
That's-
know. I like seeing my skin vibrate.
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
cool. I
Oh
like that
no,
too.
it feels good. I mean, it does. It does. But they're just saying it just stirs up the germs from the floor.
I don't really know.
You're in a little cyclone of.
I don't know. It can't be any worse than like whirl
Bacteria.
dryer that just like
Yeah. What about
sprays hot mist at you or something like that.
you guys weren't alive for the one where we had the paper towel that came down and it just rotated and it looked. I don't
No,
even know where,
that still
that's still
exists.
I don't
around,
even know where
yeah.
that
That
one
still
went.
exists.
Yeah. Not the
some
paper
places.
towels. But
I
the
know,
cloth.
that
cloth.
still exists somewhere, right?
That's crazy.
It's really gross. Yeah, because if it
'Cause you
keeps
don't tell
going,
us-
it's
yeah.
like, did it go around again already? Yeah.
It laughed.
I don't know.
It does laugh.
But so, okay. So Whole Foods,
People are filthy. That's the whole point.
this company, as I said, it's about double the amount of stores as the Sprouts Farmers Market, but not even close to the amount of stores as Kroger.
So give me the numbers. Let's talk numbers.
So it's got a $10.44 billion market cap.
wow, that's pretty
Just to give you, yeah. So it's more than double the market cap of the Sprouts,
we
but
should have a metric sales per store.
less than half of that of Kroger's.
That's all right.
All
we
right.
can figure it out.
The stock is now at $31, and that's down from $65 in 2014.
Holy smokes.
So it's
yeah, they are getting pummeled.
lost more than half of its value.
Value, as Lionel Richie would say. Lost half your value.
So after that, is it worth buying now?
Let's talk about
The PE is 21.
PE 21.
It's got a dividend of 1.74%. That's the best dividend of the three.
Of the three.
An ROIC of 14%.
Hmm.
That's significantly below the PE, so I don't like to see that. Net debt to equity is pretty much zero.
Wow.
So that was really good.
That's really good that they can do this growth on zero debt.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Expected earnings per share increase for the year, 3.4%. Weaker than the other two, much weaker than Sprouts. So to me, even though no debt is a really nice feature, it's too expensive with 21. That's a difference of 7%, 21 to 14. That's a big gap to bridge. And when you don't have you have a mediocre earnings growth. You got a pretty good dividend, and you have no debt, those are bonuses, but it's not enough to get to justify it.
So we're like skunked this week.
I'm afraid we are. I don't hate any of these stocks, but okay. Aside from the metrics here, in fact, the Whole Foods metrics aren't that bad. Maybe I would even consider it if it weren't for this story. Okay, but when this story just came out today, you don't want to experiment and find out if it becomes big news and people start not shopping at Whole Foods. I would say you can't buy this stock now.
It's kind of like the Chipotle thing, right?
If
Like when Chipotle got dinged with that E. coli thing.
Well, yeah,
Are they
right.
Still, they recovered
hopefully
from
it's
that?
not as bad as that, because that was bad.
That's really bad.
That happened several times. Remember that?
Yeah.
It happened in Boston.
Hey, maybe preservatives aren't that
Happened in California.
bad. Maybe like we'll
Hey.
go with the preservatives and
Yeah, right. Rather than certain death. Bacterial meningitis.
Well, this was definitely interesting. I love this week.
Yeah, this was a good week. Right. I mean, seriously, the Whole Foods numbers aren't horrible. I would say it's a little overpriced, but then with this story, it just becomes completely unviable right now. Anyway.
Wow.
So,
Glad we ended on a good note.
Whole Foods, I like the longer story, but the immediate story, not so much. Anyway, thanks for listening.
This is fun.
This is Funny Money, and we're all out of funny money.
See you next week.